Cheers, and welcome to another drunk review. Today, I'm reviewing Undress Your Stress by Lois Levey. First and foremost, Lois, I made you a cake. I'm sure if you follow me, you're familiar with some mental health things. So I just want to share some of the contents, and you can pretty much get an idea about how pointless these are if you're not neurotypical. Laugh. Quiet time. Noisy time. Move around. Kindergarten magic. Talk. Escape. Sleep. And stop the madness. Here's the thing, Lois. I have anxiety. I can't undress my stress. And even if I weren't mentally ill, I know all this shit. Everybody knows this shit. This is common knowledge. How did you get a book deal to write this short, stupid little book saying things like, exercise helps relieve tension, try meditating, color sometime, and you'll feel a little better. Everybody knows this, Lois. Although, you know what? When was this published? 1999. Okay, so to be fair, this was published before the internet really boomed. So maybe these are all novel ideas for Lois. She grew up in a society where maybe not everybody knew that exercise gives you endorphins and endorphins make you happy. And happy people just don't shoot their husbands. They just don't. She also mentions turning off the news. And that is not so easy when the news is on a screen that's in your pocket all the time. She talks about how technology can be a great source of stress. And while that's true, the way she phrased it was very much in a Herbider, Thomas Edison was a witch kind of way. So, yeah, stereotypical white woman nonsense. This is a very well-intentioned book. I don't mean to belittle it. There are some people that would find it very useful. But me, being a technology-savvy millennial, already knows this stuff, and me, being mentally ill, is not always able to do this stuff. And this stuff doesn't always work for me. I guess in the end what I'm trying to say is, Lois, stress is a very personal thing. What stresses you out can be very different from what stresses me out. And how your body reacts to stress is very different to how my body reacts to stress. And what mechanisms help you cope with stress can be very different from the mechanisms that help me cope with stress. No, that was not to imply that I drink to cope with stress. No, I basically only drink for these videos, to be fair. But you know what? All of this bashing is not helpful. So, here's what I'm going to tell you, my fellow millennials with mental illnesses. Therapy. It's funny. In the section on talking, she mentions talking to somebody else, and the way she phrased it was, find a friend that you can make a deal with where if one of you is stressed, you can go to the other and just vent at them. And I'm just like, you realize that you just described talk therapy. It was a thing in the 1990s, I promise you this. But just goes to show ya, mental illness still has a stigma attached. The only difference is that talk therapy is done by a licensed provider. They can give you concrete and clinically supported techniques to help you cope with your stress. And yes, some of them may be what is mentioned in this book, but I feel like this book is very much meant for moments of stress. Screaming your head off can be very cathartic, and I've done it myself, but in moments of severe stress. Like when I learned that my car was going to cost $4,500 to repair. I screamed. Scared my dog a little bit, but I screamed. And it felt good, but the whole week my car was in the shop, just this low level of stress was just eating away at me, and I can't just scream for no reason. And that sort of stress cannot be solved with screaming or coloring. This has almost turned into a video on stress rather than a review of a book on stress, but the fact is, it's an oversimplification written for neurotypical people, and it's just not relevant to my life. But hey, you might find it useful. So, it feels almost disingenuous to toast Lois Levey. So cheers to everybody who has ever dealt with stress. May you find your own way of coping. If you would like to help me make my channel bigger and better, please consider donating. I have a Patreon and a PayPal. If you can't support me, that's cool, I get it. But please subscribe, like, share, all that good stuff, and I will see you next time. Bye.